Imagine a place where you could step back in time. Not to rewrite history or prevent some huge disaster, but just simply to revisit a single moment, a really pivotal one. To have that one last conversation, maybe, the one you regret never having, or to finally understand something that was just left hanging, agonizingly unsaid, or maybe just witness a powerful memory again, but like with fresh eyes. Just think about that. How profoundly impactful could that opportunity be for you, I mean, even if nothing else really changed. Today we're taking a deep dive into the fascinating world of Toshikazu Kawaguchi's novel, Before the Coffee Gets Cold. And like you said, this isn't your typical science fiction adventure. No dodging dinosaurs, no averting apocalypses here. Instead, it offers this profoundly human and truly unique twist on that age-old dream of time travel. It's really an intimate exploration of the human heart, the nature of regret, and the enduring, sometimes painful, but always powerful force of human connection. So our mission today, basically, is to unpack the quiet magic and the surprisingly rigid, almost paradoxical rules that govern this extraordinary cafe. We'll journey through the motivations and the emotional landscapes of the individuals who dare to sit in its magical chair, and ultimately we'll try to extract the core insights this story offers about relationships, about perspective, and about what it truly means to really live in the present. We're going to discover why, even when the past itself remains stubbornly fixed, revisiting it can, in fact, change everything for you.
Yeah, and what's really captivating about Before the Coffee Gets Cold, I think, is how it meticulously dismantles our usual expectations of time travel stories. It deliberately strips away all the grand sci-fi stuff.
Right, no complex paradoxes.
Exactly, no world-saving missions. The book, Kawaguchi's book, it immediately shifts the focus. It grounds the whole fantastical idea in something deeply personal. It really prioritizes the small scale, the impact on individual lives. It kind of guides us toward exploring that internal transformation rather than changing the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really deliberate narrative choice. It sets the stage for a much more intimate, introspective kind of journey.
Okay, so let's begin our journey right there. Let's step into the heart of this story. Our narrative unfolds in this small, pretty unassuming cafe nestled somewhere in Japan. It's got this intriguing name, Funijin Funicula. Now, as the book makes clear, this is no ordinary place. It serves as this subtle gateway to moments past and, interestingly, future, too. When you picture this place, what kind of ambiance comes to mind for you? For me, I imagine something cozy, maybe a little worn around the edges, steeped in history, where that rich smell of brewing coffee just seems to hang in the air, always. It feels like a place where the ordinary rhythm of time might just naturally slow down, even before any real magic happens. What kind of atmosphere do you think Kawaguchi was aiming for? And how does that setting sort of reinforce the cafe's deeper purpose?
That's a really crucial observation. The source material, the book, describes it quite simply, doesn't it? Just a small cafe in Japan. But that very simplicity, I think, is deeply intentional. It immediately suggests a sanctuary, right? A space deliberately set apart from the frantic pace of modern life.
Yeah, definitely not a chain coffee shop.
No, exactly. This isn't some bustling city hub. It's a quiet, almost liminal space where the everyday noise just fades away. People aren't just dropping in for a quick espresso to go. They arrive carrying, profound emotional weight. They're seeking something deeply personal, like a final thread connecting them to a moment they just can't let go of. This almost mundane, very accessible setting for such an extraordinary power time travel is, I think, a stroke of narrative genius.
It really is.
It enhances the human element, doesn't it? It makes the fantastical feel less like some scientific feat and more like a quiet, almost intimate ritual. It tells us this magic doesn't need fancy tech or some grand lab. It just needs a place for quiet contemplation, an ordinary space ready to host these extraordinary emotional journeys.
And right at the heart of this place, almost like a shrine to memory, you have this particular solitary chair. This, the book confirms, is the very unassuming vehicle for time travel. It's not some gleaming chrome thing with flashing lights and dials, is it? Not at all. It's simply a chair.
Yeah.
A plain, maybe even unremarkable wooden chair.
Yeah, and that simplicity is absolutely central to Kawaguchi's design here. It's not just about making time travel seem, accessible. It's almost an anti-sci-fi statement, in a way. By stripping away any futuristic techie stuff, Kawaguchi grounds the fantastical firmly in the mundane.
Right.
He invites us to suspend our disbelief not through fancy gadgets, but through the sheer relatable human desire that drives someone to actually sit in it. The contrast between the, profound act of traveling through time and its humble means just the single chair is really striking.
It makes you think.
It really does. It suggests the magic isn't really about the mechanics or the power of a device, but maybe it resides in the profound human intent of the person sitting there. Or maybe it's within the inherent, almost spiritual energy of the cafe itself as this nexus of emotional history. This deliberate choice shifts the power away from some external tech marvel to the internal psyche, right? It implicitly suggests that the capacity for profound change and understanding has always been within the individual, not some external device. It transforms the act of revisiting a moment from like a scientific experiment into a deeply personal, almost meditative ritual.
You're absolutely right. That sheer, almost stark simplicity of it just instantly sparks this deep curiosity. You can almost feel the weight of all the untold stories kind of emanating from those walls, can't you? What kind of heart-wrenching confessions or desperate pleas or just quiet reckonings have those walls witnessed? Who would be brave enough, or maybe just desperate enough, to settle into that particular chair, knowing the extraordinary and deeply personal journey it promises?
Exactly.
It's not just a plot point. It feels like an immediate, almost visceral invitation for you, the listener, to reflect on your own deepest regrets or your unspoken words or your most haunting unanswered questions. It creates this immediate, powerful intrigue, drawing us right into the raw, emotional core of the story. Without needing any flashy effects or complex technobabble, it just humanizes the impossible.
And it fosters this sense of profound intimacy, I think. You're not just observing a fictional character, you're almost placing yourself in that seat, grappling with that choice. That initial intrigue is absolutely crucial because it anchors the whole fantastical premise, time travel, in these very relatable, very universal human emotions and dilemmas. It asks us, what would you sacrifice for a chance at clarity?
Okay, so let's unpack this further, because this is really where the true genius and the specific emotional landscape of this story really starts to take shape. Unlike most time travel stories we're used to before the coffee gets cold, it doesn't just like dabble with rules. It establishes this set of highly specific, totally non-negotiable parameters for time travel. And these aren't just limitations to be overcome, like puzzles in a sci-fi movie.
Not at all.
Instead, they are the actual framework, the crucible, that forges the intense emotional depth of each story. It's a masterful subversion of what you typically expect from any story involving time travel. It shifts the focus so dramatically.
Absolutely. The book meticulously lays out these rules, and they are, honestly, foundational to the entire narrative's power and its philosophical sort of underpinnings. These aren't obstacles for the characters to cleverly bypass or paradoxes they need to unravel. No, they are the immutable, fundamental conditions under which this unique form of time travel operates. And critically, these rules deliberately shift the entire focus away from the intricate mechanics of, temporal displacement
The how.
and squarely onto its profound psychological, emotional, and relational consequences, the why. They force both the characters and us, the audience, to really consider why someone would even attempt such a journey under such incredibly strict terms.
So let's dive into rule number one, which is in many ways the ultimate constraint and really a defining feature of this specific kind of time travel. You're confined to the cafe. The limitation is stark, simple. You can only travel within the walls of the cafe itself. You cannot, under any circumstances, leave that specific space, whether you're in the past or the future. You're literally anchored to your seat.
This rule is unbelievably significant, as the source material really underscores. It immediately imposes this profound restriction on any physical interaction with the past or future world. This isn't about altering timelines through grand actions or anything like that.
And running out to warn someone.
Exactly. It means the primary, really the only purpose of time travel in Cooley Funicula is fundamentally about dialogue, observation, and understanding. Not active intervention or physical participation outside those cafe walls. You are strictly an observer confined to a very specific, very deliberate vantage point within this contained environment. It turns the whole journey into a unique kind of intimate theater.
Right. So if you're just observing, if you can't physically, run out to warn someone or grab a forgotten letter or change how events unfold, what is the true nature of this observation then?
Yeah.
It's about taking in information, sure,
Right.
but maybe more profoundly, it's about listening with every single part of you, feeling the echoes of a past moment, absorbing the nuances, the expressions, the hidden meanings in someone's tone. It's about being present, but without direct agency in the way we normally think about it. What kind of internal struggles does this rule inevitably create for the travelers? It must be agonizing sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. And that's where the real psychological weight of this rule kicks in. This constraint forces this intense, almost hyper-focused introspection. The cafe itself becomes this metaphorical, safe, contained space for emotional processing, like a personal stage where memories get reenacted.
Yeah.
It limits the scope of physical action, but it massively amplifies the depth of the internal experience. It's deeply symbolic, isn't it? You are confined, much like our memories often confine us, and the journey becomes about what you choose to do, emotionally and psychologically, within those very deliberate boundaries. Imagine the frustration, maybe even agony, of witnessing a critical moment unfold, a misunderstanding, a hurtful word, a missed chance, and knowing your hands are tied. You can't physically intervene.
Yeah.
This forces the characters to grapple with acceptance, to truly understand the futility of wishing for a different past, and to redirect their emotional energy towards their own internal transformation. Like you said earlier, if you, the listener, were confined to one room, knowing you couldn't change a single external event, what single conversation would you prioritize? It's a question that demands a very narrow, incredibly focused intention. It forces you to confront what truly matters most in your own emotional landscape.
That's a really powerful thought experiment. It makes you really confront what you value most in a conversation, doesn't it? And speaking of urgency, that brings us right to the second rule, which injects this powerful, almost breathless element of pressure, the disappearing coffee. Your time travel is strictly limited.
Yeah.
You must drink your coffee before it gets cold, or you face the pretty dire consequence of becoming a ghost yourself, forever bound to that cafe.
This is such a brilliant narrative device, and the source material really highlights this emphasis on limited time. The cooling coffee isn't just some quirky detail, it serves as this ever-present, visceral reminder of finite time.
Like a literal ticking clock.
Exactly, a tangible, steaming clock counting down not just the moments of their journey, but symbolically, the fleeting opportunities in life itself. It embodies the irreversible passage of time and the impermanence of any given opportunity. This rule creates immense urgency, forcing characters, and by extension us, the listeners, to just abandon hesitation and second-guessing.
No time to waste.
None. Every sip, every breath, every word within that brief window counts. It forces this almost brutal clarity of purpose. There's no time for just, casual meandering. You are there for a very specific, deeply important reason, and that cooling coffee is a relentless, stark reminder to focus on that singular objective. It forces this intense, almost primal engagement with the moment.
It's an incredible narrative constraint, a real ticking clock for your very essence, right? The consequence of staying too long is severe becoming a ghost, perpetually stuck in the cafe. That really elevates the emotional stakes of each journey beyond just simple regret or sadness. It's not just about what emotional solace you might gain, but also about the profound spiritual risk you take by indulging too much or giving in to indecision. How do you think this immediate existential threat shapes their decisions and internal thoughts during that brief window?
The high stakes here are absolutely critical. They underscore the profound preciousness and the fleeting nature of this unique opportunity. It's a masterstroke in forcing that clarity of purpose. When you're faced with such a stark, undeniable deadline, human nature tends to strip away the trivial stuff and hone in on what's essential.
Right, you get straight to the point.
Precisely. Characters are compelled to confront their deepest needs and articulate them with precision and urgency. Imagine the internal battle. That desire to linger, to just absorb every detail of a loved one's presence, maybe, pitted against the chilling reality of that cooling coffee.
Yeah, that's tough.
It forces a profound discipline, an almost meditative focus on the true intention of their journey. This rule beautifully encapsulates the idea that even the most profound opportunities have their very real, very human limits. Much like life itself, it's a constant visceral reminder that the past is just a fleeting visit, not a place you can stay.
And now, for what I think is maybe the most profound and genuinely game-changing rule, the crucial twist that truly defines the emotional landscape of this story and sets it apart from almost every other time travel narrative out there, the unchangeable present. The source material makes this core principle incredibly clear. Even if you go back, even if you try to change things, the present reality you return to will not be significantly altered.
This is, without a doubt, the linchpin of the entire narrative. A crucial subversion of those common time travel tropes we always see. It immediately and definitively differentiates the book from traditional stories focused on paradoxes or altering history or fixing past mistakes in a tangible way.
Yeah, no butterfly effect worries here, really.
Exactly. This rule fundamentally shifts the entire focus away from external physical change and places it squarely on internal psychological transformation. It forces us to ask that deeply philosophical question. If the present won't change, then what's the actual point of going back? And the book's answer, implicitly and powerfully, is that people don't undertake these journeys to alter external events, but to profoundly alter their understanding of those events. And in doing that, to change themselves. It's a total reframing of what impact truly means.
That's really the heart of it, isn't it? The real magic, the lasting impact. It isn't in rewriting what happened, because you can't. That's off limits. Instead, it's in fundamentally changing how you feel about it, how you understand it, and crucially, how you choose to respond and move forward in your present. This emphasis on personal growth and acceptance over any kind of external manipulation is what gives the story its unique emotional weight. It's about the profound, often quiet power of insight.
And what's truly fascinating here is that the ultimate value derived from these journeys isn't found in doing or altering anything, but purely in knowing, in gaining clarity, achieving some form of closure, or acquiring a completely new perspective. This rule, rather than just being a limitation, becomes an invitation to profound introspection. It challenges our inherent human desire to correct perceived errors, By insisting that the past remains fixed, it forces us to confront the reality that while we have no agency over what's already happened,
Right, messed up.
we always retain absolute agency over our present reactions, our interpretation of those past events, and our future outlook. It strongly reinforces the idea that true, lasting change, the kind that really liberates and empowers, almost always begins from within. It aligns beautifully with certain philosophical ideas, like Stoicism, maybe, which teach that while we can't control external events, we always control our judgments and reactions to them.
That's a great connection.
Yeah, Kawaguchi cleverly uses this fantastical premise to deliver a very grounded, very profound truth about human psychology and resilience.
Okay, so with these incredible, almost counterintuitive rules firmly set, the book then unfolds these 4 distinct, deeply moving stories. Each narrative illustrates a different, yet totally universally relatable facet of human longing, regret, and the enduring power of connection. These aren't just characters. They feel almost like archetypes of our own internal struggles, reflections of the dilemmas we all face at some point. Every single individual, as the book highlights, has this compelling, deeply personal reason to settle into that magical chair, driven by an unshakable need for, understanding.
Indeed. The source material thoughtfully outlines these 4 distinct motivations. Someone yearning to meet a lost love, another wanting to see a deceased husband, a third focusing on their sister, and a fourth, incredibly, reaching out to their unborn child. These aren't just random plot points or isolated cases. When you look at them together, they form this powerful tapestry representing universal human experiences, right?
Okay.
The profound joys and sorrows of love, the crushing weight of loss, the intricate complexities of family relationships, and that boundless hope for the future. Each one is channeled through the unique, constrained framework of this time travel opportunity, allowing us to examine these emotions under a unique kind of narrative microscope.
Okay, let's delve into the first story then, The Lost Love. Here we meet a character grappling with the echoes of a relationship that ended, maybe abruptly. Leaving behind this tangle of unresolved feelings or unanswered questions, it's that universal, almost aching yearning for just one more moment, one final conversation, even if it promises to be painful, simply to understand why things happened the way they did, or maybe to express feelings that were tragically left unsaid. What specific nuances does Kawaguchi explore with this journey for closure?
This journey, as the outline suggests, is fundamentally about chasing closure, but not in a way that lets you rewrite the past. Instead, it's about finding this deep internal sense of peace, a reconciliation with what was.
Accepting it.
Exactly. The character isn't hoping to rekindle the romance or magically alter the breakup. Their desire is more about understanding the underlying dynamics, the unspoken currents that led to the relationship's end. Or maybe just finally voicing those sentiments that lingered in their heart, creating that persistent ache. It beautifully highlights that profoundly human desire we all have to revisit moments of joy and pain, not necessarily to change their outcome, but to fully process them.
To make sense of them.
Yeah, to integrate them into one's personal narrative in a way that allows for healing. The beauty here lies in the acceptance that even if the relationship isn't revived, the journey itself provides this powerful path towards a profound acceptance of its conclusion. It frees the individual to move forward with a lighter heart, unburdened by those lingering what-ifs. It's really an act of self-compassion, isn't it? Giving yourself the gift of understanding.
Then we encounter the really poignant story of the deceased husband. This motivation, just heartbreakingly, is driven by the profound and often sudden grief of losing a loved one. It's that desperate, almost primal desire to see them just one last time, to maybe convey a final crucial message, or simply to be in their presence again, if only for a few fleeting, precious moments. To feel that connection one more time. How does this particular journey resonate with that universal human experience of mourning and the search for peace after loss?
This narrative just brilliantly illustrates the critical human need for ritual and closure when we're facing overwhelming grief. The opportunity to say a proper farewell, to utter those words that got trapped inside, or just to share space with the person who's gone, even if it's a one-sided conversation totally confined to the cafe, that can be an incredibly healing balm for the soul. The source material hints at the immense weight of unspoken words we carry for those we've lost. This story profoundly explores the huge relief and liberation that comes from finally speaking them, from discharging that emotional burden. The journey, crucially, doesn't bring the person back. It doesn't erase the pain of their absence.
Of course not.
But instead, it offers a pathway to profound internal peace for the one left behind. It allows them to carry on, not without sadness, obviously, but with a renewed sense of resolution, a deeper acceptance of their loss, and maybe the comfort of having completed a final, necessary conversation in their own heart. It's a real testament to the enduring power of love that transcends even death.
The third story delves into the complex dynamics of the sister relationship. This motivation is often rooted in these deep-seated family dynamics, maybe long-standing misunderstandings or unresolved conflicts that have created a painful rift between siblings. It's that yearning to mend a fracture, to perhaps offer forgiveness that was never asked for, or to seek understanding for past actions that have cast this long shadow over the relationship. Family bonds are just so unique in their intensity, aren't they?
They absolutely are. This story powerfully delves into those intricate, often unbreakable, yet frequently strained bonds of family. It examines how shared history and these deeply ingrained experiences shape these relationships and the profound, often enduring impact of unresolved issues. What makes this journey particularly compelling is that while the present reality of the sibling relationship cannot be altered, maybe the sister is still estranged or simply unable to change her past actions, the character seeks an internal reconciliation.
Right, it's about their own peace.
Exactly. They might aim to truly understand their sister's perspective, maybe gain clarity on where the conflict started, or simply express their own feelings of hurt or love, unburdening themselves of that emotional weight. It powerfully addresses the heavy burden of regret that can build up over family discord, and it highlights the immense relief that comes from confronting and addressing it, even in this unique, contained, and symbolic way within the time travel rules. It's about accepting the limits of external change, but recognizing the limitless potential for internal peace.
And finally, we come to maybe the most unique and forward-looking time travel scenario in the book, the unborn child. Here, a character takes this leap not into the past, but into the future, to meet someone who doesn't even exist yet in their present. This journey is driven by this incredible blend of hope, profound anticipation, and the almost preemptive connection of parenthood before birth. It's like an act of pure, unconditional love reaching across time.
This narrative just speaks volumes about the incredible human capacity for love and connection, extending even to those we haven't met, those who exist only as hopes and dreams for us. It explores that deeply profound idea of forming a bond with a future version of oneself, or, in this case, a child. It's a testament to the enduring human spirit that seeks to connect, to nurture, and to love even before physical manifestation.
Quite beautiful.
It really is. This particular story touches on all the hopes, the dreams, and also the anxieties that inevitably come with impending parenthood. It offers this deeply personal, almost sacred glimpse into a potential future. And while, again, the future itself cannot be changed by this visit, the profound impact of seeing a glimpse of it can irrevocably influence current decisions. Well, it doesn't alter what will be, necessarily, but it can dramatically solidify a parent's resolve, their perspective, and their emotional preparedness in the present. This narrative beautifully challenges our conventional linear view of time, doesn't it? It demonstrates that emotional connections, true love, profound understanding, they can transcend strict chronological progression. They reach both backward into memory and forward into anticipation. It's a powerful narrative about commitment and the enduring power of potential.
Okay, so if we take a step back now and connect all these threads, look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
The entire premise of Before the Coffee Gets Cold fundamentally redirects and redefines the very essence of time travel itself. It's not presented as a tool for rewriting history or for grand interventions or for fixing external mistakes. Instead, it reveals itself as this powerful catalyst for intensely personal, internal, emotional journeys. It's not about altering what was, but about deeply transforming what is within you.
Precisely. The core message, as the summary really points out, is unequivocally about emotional transformation, rather than any kind of historical revision. Each traveler, despite all the limitations, experiences this profound form of catharsis. They don't return having changed a single event in the past,
Not one.
but they absolutely return having gained a new understanding, a dramatically altered perspective, or a profound sense of peace that empowers them to live more fully and authentically in their present. The cafe, in this light, it really transcends just being a setting. It becomes this sacred space, almost like a confessional, for individuals to confront and process their deepest-seated emotions: grief, regret, longing, hope. It offers this structured, almost ritualistic way to achieve emotional closure without ever requiring a single external event to be undone or changed. It's all about finding resolution within.
Which brings us directly to the immense power of perspective, doesn't it? The past, as we've firmly established, remains fixed, unyielding. But the self, you change. This raises a truly important, almost existential question. If the past remains stubbornly fixed, what truly changes? It is you that undergoes the metamorphosis. Your interpretation of events, your acceptance of their inevitability, your strategy for moving forward, these are the elements that are fundamentally reshaped.
This is perhaps the most profound philosophical insight woven throughout the fabric of the book. It offers this counter-narrative to our often ingrained human desire to fix past mistakes. The book argues that fixing isn't always about undoing an event or preventing a consequence. More often, it's about understanding its origins, making profound peace with its unavoidable consequences, and crucially, learning from it to inform and improve one's future.
Learning the lesson, basically.
Exactly. The journeys within the cafe empower characters to view their relationships and past experiences through an entirely new lens, a lens of understanding, maybe forgiveness or acceptance. This new internal framework is ultimately presented as far more valuable and transformative than any physical alteration of external events could ever be. It highlights that the most impactful and lasting changes are almost always internal, reshaping our relationship with our own history rather than trying to rewrite the history books. It's a beautiful literary exploration of how our interpretation of reality really shapes our reality itself.
And throughout all of this, right from the simple chair to the stringent rules, human relationships are consistently and beautifully placed at the absolute forefront. What's so utterly fascinating here is that every single journey, every rule, every imposed limitation serves not to hinder, but actually to profoundly highlight the irreplaceable value and the enduring impact of human connections. Love, loss, family, friendship, these aren't just elements of the plot. They are the true beating heart and the primary drivers of the entire narrative.
This is absolutely spot on. The book deeply taps into that universal human yearning, the intrinsic desire to connect, to understand others, and importantly, to be understood ourselves, especially by those who have most profoundly shaped our lives. The time travel itself isn't really the story. It's merely this masterfully crafted narrative device. It functions like a microscope, allowing Kawaguchi to zoom in and examine these human connections with intense focus, exploring their depth, their complexities, and their immense significance. The emphasis is always unfailingly on the who and the why of the interaction, rather than the how of the time travel itself. It reminds us that our deepest regrets and our most profound joys are almost always tied to the people in our lives.
So maybe paradoxically, a book entirely dedicated to the idea of time travel ultimately delivers its most resonant lesson on the profound importance of living fully and authentically in the present. This seems to be the ultimate overarching wisdom imparted by the cafe's magical confines. The temporary nature of the time travel experience, underlined by that relentless cooling of the coffee. It constantly emphasizes that real life, true agency, genuine happiness happens now.
Absolutely. It's a powerful, almost Zen-like message, isn't it? By revisiting what was and by facing the unchangeable nature of the past, characters are guided towards a deeper appreciation for what they have in their present, what they can still influence, and the sheer preciousness of every single moment they are given. The deep dive into the past doesn't offer a reset button, it offers a clarity button.
I like that, clarity button.
Yeah. It allows individuals to finally make peace with unchangeable circumstances, to resolve internal emotional conflicts, and with that renewed perspective, to bravely and deliberately embrace their future. It's a profound reminder that while we can certainly learn from the past, our true power, our true agency, and our capacity to find joy and meaning are firmly rooted in the present moment. It's about letting go of what simply cannot be changed and redirecting all that liberated energy and focus onto what can be changed: your own perspective, your present actions, and your journey moving forward.
Hashtag tag tag outrack out. So we've journeyed through the enchanting, almost sacred Funculi Funicular Cafe. We've come to understand its unique, profoundly humanizing rules of time travel. And we've intimately explored the deeply emotional motivations of those courageous souls who dared to sit in that very special chair. We've seen how even when the past itself remains stubbornly unalterable, the profound act of revisiting it with the right intention can fundamentally transform you, reshaping your perspective, deepening your understanding, and profoundly expanding your capacity to live fully and courageously in the present.
The book beautifully illustrates that true closure, genuine forgiveness, and liberating understanding don't always necessitate altering external realities. More often, they demand a courageous adjustment of our internal landscape, a reframing of our relationship with our own history. It's a powerful narrative about finding peace with what is, and then leveraging that hard-won peace to enrich and empower what will be.
So this brings us to a compelling question for you to consider, long after our deep dive ends. If you truly had the opportunity to visit a specific moment in your past, knowing with absolute certainty that you couldn't change a single outcome in your present, what single conversation would you most desperately seek out? What profound understanding, what missing piece of clarity would you hope to gain from that brief, precious moment? And crucially, how might that newfound perspective truly reshape your own journey forward, starting right here, right now? Think about it. Let that thought steep for a while, just like a perfectly brewed cup of coffee.